Hi, it's Chuck Gilmore with Power to Sing Live number 112. Today we're going to be talking about someone who didn't have vibrato and now they do. Quote unquote. I didn't have vibrato, but now I do. It's the 25th of December. Merry Christmas. Oh, that's me. I have my little Mac computer right there, and there I am. So I know it's working. Merry Christmas to you. And I have a special guest with me here today, and I've asked him to open this Power to Sing Live with a little song. Do you mind if we ask Santa to go ahead? Santa, would you mind just giving us a little rendition here, please? Would you give us a little song? Thank you, Santa. Well, that was great. I should have said that he was also going to do a little dance for us. So I hope that everybody today, those of you who are celebrating Christmas, have had a great day and a good time with family and friends. It's a great holiday season. So, okay. Well, what did you think about that, huh? A special a little vignette from the jolly old elf himself. So I just wanted to say hi to David. Nice to have you with us today, David. I think our numbers today will be a little bit light because it's a holiday, but I didn't want to miss. I think we've done it almost 112 times straight here, and without missing a week. And I wanted we'll do some short things today. Talk about some vibrato. I'm happy to do question and answers for anybody who wants to jump on, and we'll just take some of your questions, and we can get some things maybe settled in your mind about singing. So I was looking at Subia. Hey, wow, Santa, yeah, how about that, huh? There he is. So Subia, nice to have you here with us today. And Akshay, hey, nice to have you here. Thank you. Merry Christmas to you. Okay, you guys. So I've got my little Macintosh computer here, and was going through some of the comments that I had on my YouTube channel. And here was the top one today as I was looking at it. And this is from, her name is Ligia. I'm going to guess it's like Lygia or Lygia or Lygia Caldwell. She said, if I could, I would give this video, and this video was the one from last Friday entitled Vibrato Can Be Learned. If I could, I would give this video 10 likes, not just one. Fun fact. I didn't have one in quotes, when I was young, that is vibrato. But I just started doing it intuitively, and guess what? Now I do have it. I am not a professional singer or anything, I just love to sing. Thank you for this channel. Well, thank you, Lygia. Thanks for your comment. So, what do you think, you guys? Let me just ask you this question. Is it wrong to artificially make vibrato in your voice if you don't have it naturally? Is it wrong to make it artificially? Yes or no? Let me know what you think, and we'll go into that a little bit more. Hi, okay, Evlove. Nice to have you here. Merry Christmas to you. And Potato Tomato, TT. Merry Christmas. And Akshay. So Akshay says, have a drink. It's a festive time of year. Okay. So, what do you think, you guys? Is it okay to have to like manufacture basically artificial vibrato in your voice if you don't have it naturally? Maybe I'll qualify that question and say, okay, Ev Love says no, laugh out loud. David Valerie says, what do you mean by artificially? I think maybe the word is to induce it. Induce it in your voice so that if you weren't born with natural vibrato, you're actually creating it in your voice. And let me qualify it by saying when you're when you're trying to learn how to do vibrato. Maybe that would be a nice little qualifier. Is it okay to induce it or to make it happen in your voice if you're trying to learn how to do it, if you haven't gotten it just naturally? So, Parka Sup Official, thanks. First, thank you for your lesson. Thank you. Nice to have you here with us today. Potato Tomato, this is how I really say it. I think it's probably is wrong, like with your jaw. Okay, yeah. So there are some things that. Good point. Yeah, we don't want to be saying so, and I've seen that. I saw that not too long ago by a very well-known singer. She's getting older now, and I'm not sure if she just had to rely on that or not. But yeah, it was rather distracting. So good point. Good point. Probably in some circumstances, if you're going to induce it, then you don't want to be doing things that are going to harm your singing. Evlov says, yes, it's okay. Parka, Sup Official, and Merry Christmas. Thank you. Merry Christmas to you. Vicky Williams says, I don't know either. Okay, so this is a really great question. And Merry Christmas, Vicky. The Brecks say, should my voice be tired after singing for a while, or is that straining? You know, it depends. If your voice is in pretty good shape, because you've done vocal exercises and so forth, and it's tiring and maybe getting a little hoarse or just kind of a little scratchy after some period of singing, probably there's some straining going on. Probably the larynx is coming up, or the chest voices or the chest voice is also being pulled higher. So good question. Okay, so David Valerie says, yeah, I think it's okay. All right, so let's get this question answered, and then we'll just have a little free for all here, and we'll answer more questions. Is it? So here's Lygia Caldwell, who made a comment on my channel. Thank you. I'm sorry, I'm not exactly sure how to pronounce your name, but thank you for your comment on this topic. Who said that she didn't have it, but she just started doing it intuitively, meaning she induced it in some way. I don't know exactly how, but it eventually came along so that she was able to do vibrato. And now she has it, and so there's 2 points I want to make here. Number one, it's possible to learn how to do it if you weren't born with vibrato. I wasn't. I didn't have it naturally, and of course I feel this way because I've done that too. I induced the vibrato and started working with the first semblance of it, and then eventually it developed into a full capacity vibrato. So my answer is I think it's okay to do it, because I don't know of any other way to do it other to learn it if you don't have it naturally than just to induce it. In other words, to cause it to happen in your voice. And the second point is, by doing that and then practicing those things that you're getting the vibrato, it's possible then for it to become a part of your your toolbox of singing that you can use as a singer, the vibrato. So let me get a couple more comments here. Potato Tomato says the Brex may want to consider drinking water. You know, it's interesting. When we drink water, what do we're lubricating the mouth, the lining of the roof of the mouth and the throat and so forth. But and maybe through this process of fluids going into our body, eventually the fluid or the lubrication or the hydration will help the vocal cords. But we really don't get water on the vocal cords themselves, do we? Otherwise, if we get water down there, it's usually we start coughing it so it doesn't go down into the lungs. So I'm not sure that drinking water will solve getting tired. It may help other things, but I'm not sure that that's the necessarily a direct solution to tiredness. I think we'd probably need to investigate Brecht family, the Brecht family, the cause of the tiredness. Okay, so Auntie Tuvola from Finland, welcome. Nice to have you here today. For those of you who missed, Santa Claus introduced our show today with a little number of, and you'll have to replay the video now to see his song at the beginning, and a little dance. Randy Marsh, hey, nice to have you here, Randy, and Merry Christmas to you. Okay, Akshay says, can beginners learn to sing vibrato before learning all the basics of singing, or is this lessons for intermediate singers only? Yes, beginners can learn. I'm preparing a course, should be available within the next 30 days. Many of you have already given feedback as to what would be important to be in a course on vibrato. But I'm planning on showing a video of my daughter who was like maybe 13 or so. You see, this is back in 97. She was born in 80, 82, 80. She was born in 84, 5, 6, 7. Yeah, so she's about 13 years old. Pretty much a beginner singer. And we were at a lesson with Mr. Seth Riggs, and he worked with her on vibrato. Hooked her up on a machine, in fact, which I think you'll enjoy seeing that. So the answer actually is yes, it's okay to work on it as a beginner. You don't have to wait till you're an intermediate singer. The Brecht says, I developed vibrato within a month. Awesome. I'm curious, how did you do it? Can you share that briefly in a comment? Would love to hear more about that. So again, here's a testimonial that somebody who didn't have it, in this case, the Brechts, got it. Aman Poria, how? He asked. Me too. Then the Brecht says, I only drink tea when singing. Water dries your throat. Okay. So debate on tea and water. Probably neither one of those are going to make a big difference in terms of tiring the voice. Okay. I mean, it'll help. Be appropriately hydrated, but we really need to get down to the reason for it. And that is probably there's some reach, probably some strain in the voice. Okay. I'll just describe for you what what Seth Riggs did for my 13-year-old daughter. Have you ever seen those, they're old-fashioned things that they were on a little machine. You'd stand in front of it, and it had a belt, like a cloth or some kind of a vinyl belt. It would go around your waist and go back to the machine, and it would go back and forth and kind of shake you. And I think the original purpose of it was to like reduce fat layers around the waistline, right? But Seth used it to shake my daughter, and she started to get that feeling of vibrato in her voice. So you could probably do the same thing like this. If I said, I'm going you could probably get the same effect that this had on her voice since she's 13 at the time. If you were just going to shake your hands, you could kind of get that same feeling. But this thing shook her whole body. It was really interesting. Now she's 30 something. What is it? You guys can figure it out. She's born in 84, and it's 18 for, what is she, 35? 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 84 or 34 years old. And she's got vibrato. She has vibrato, but she was not born with it. So I'm not going to drag this out a long time here. So I don't want to take a lot of time. It is a holiday today, but I want to let you know that people who don't have it are learning how to get vibrato, and are learning to use it. The Rex says it was a technique to loosen tongue tension. Yeah, one of the best exercises I've ever seen for vibrato is a tongue trill. And unfortunately, there's a lot of people who can't do it. And so it's not universally available to everyone, because the tongue trill is very, very challenging for a lot of people. But okay, so let me take a couple comments here. Thanks, 36. 36 years old, Potato Tomato says my daughter would be. She was born in 84. Aman says it would be great if you could share the technique right here. Okay, so are people actually born with it? You know what, David? That's really interesting that you would ask that. I saw a little girl the other night who she lives across the street from me, and she doesn't study with anybody. I've worked with her a few times, though, because she sung for some city events and some church events, and she has just a natural little vibrato. And I don't think she's probably around 10, 11 years old now. She's 11, I think. And she's had vibrato ever since she started singing. Just has it. Just this natural little vibrato that no one's taught her. It just is there. And I think for the most part, the people who can do that when they're that age, they just have it. Or they can just start doing it. I wasn't one of those. And maybe some of you are the same way. I sang in a straight tone. Now, so let me reiterate this technique here of just moving your hands. If you give this a little bit of a you can. It's basically shaking you a little bit, but it induces this kind of pulsing feeling. So that's my register. Ladies probably. Now, if you can continue the feeling of vibrato, stop. Stop the hand shaking while continuing on that pulsing feeling, then now you're on your way to introducing to your nervous system the feeling of vibrato. So in the course I'm going to have like that and about 6, 7 other basic exercises to induce vibrato, and then some more advanced exercises to help us improve the vibrato, to help memorize it, in the nervous system, and then to apply it in songs. And so those are going to be the three areas: get it, improve it, and then practice and sing with it. and that'll be in the chorus. So why is somebody asked who is it? Let me see. Akshay says, why is it necessary? It's not. You can sing without it. It does tend to relieve some of the strain in the voice. In other words, if I hold my chords tight, then the vibrato won't kick in. So too often we're too tight to allow the natural vibrato, if it's there, to begin occurring. And that's what I think I was doing all my life. I was just too tight. There was not enough balance of air coming from the lungs and vocal cord. So I just would sing A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, K, L, M, N, O, P. So the vibrato is an evidence of more balance in the voice, and so it's going to be a healthier condition for the vocal cords. There's going to be less tension and less squeeze, and more balance and interplay between the air and the vocal cord. That's number one. Number two is it's a limitation. If you don't have it, you're limited. If you want to add vibrato but you can't, you're limited as a singer. Number three, in the West, actually, now I'm not sure. I'm not sure where you are. I think you're in India. In the West, much of our music here, we expect to hear vibrato, and we may not consciously be aware of it, but subconsciously we are used to vibrato, and we are used to hearing vibrato, and it helps complete the music. Just like on any other instrument. I heard of a violin yesterday played, and they're playing, I don't know, I think it was Silent Night, or another one of the Christmas songs. And Silent Night, and she had her finger on the string. Night. And it's imitating the vibrato in the voice, in the human voice. And I'm sure our voices are imitating this little vibrato that instrumentalists can get playing their instrument. So over here in the West, we kind of expect it and get used to it. And so to not have it is another limitation. And it can leave the song feeling incomplete and not as fulfilling for the singer or the audience. And so it's healthy for you. It gives you more tools in your toolbox of singing, and the audiences tend to expect it. The other thing is, it tends to round the pitch a little bit. So because it's an alternating pitch that speeds up, embodied in that kind of that pulse is a spin of tone that's spinning over the top of the bass of that bottom note. So embodied in that is that alternating tone, but it tends to round the tone. It tends to create. It tends to improve the pitch of the tone. If I do a straight tone and say ma 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 ma, I'm sorry, ma 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 ma, without any vibrato, it's so easy for that tone or that pitch to kind of slide down into the crack. But if I've got ma 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 ma, the pitch gets better, and the tone is improves, and so it seems to make the overall the voice and the tone and the quality of the voice better. Okay, as opposed to just a straight tone. A, A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, K, L, M, N, O, P. There's just more of, yeah, I'm going to say elegance, but I mean, even the rockers can, can use vibrato to create something, so whatever it happens to be, it's a tool that can augment the performance and so forth. All right, so getting back up here to take some comments. Are you actually born with it, David? I think that there are many who are, and there are many of us who aren't. I was one. CSI, smash the like button, guys. Hey, thanks, CSI. Smash the like button. Potato, tomato, I always had vibrato. You lucky dog. You're one of the lucky ones. Vicky Williams, tongue trill. Okay, thank you. Yeah, so if you can do the tongue trill, if you said the tongue trill tends to help induce the vibrato, and it's a great exercise to do to improve the if I'm too slow in vibrato, to improve the speed of the vibrato as well. So the tongue trill is one of them, and again in my course I'll be talking more about that. But potato tomato says, oh my gosh, how do people roll their R's? So it's air going over the top of the tongue, and it kind of lifts it off, and and you got to relax it. If you don't relax the tongue, and you can do it just with air. See, I can do it right off my lip. It's the air going past the tongue, and then you add the voice to it. It's a great little exercise for so many reasons. Akshay says, "Why?" Okay, we've talked about that. Why it's important. If you practice, Evlov says, if you practice while having a cold, will your voice still be able to improve? Yeah, Evlov, but you want to be, you want to practice correctly. You don't want to practice pulling the chest or putting a lot of strain on the voice or on the vocal cords. So, Evlov, I would say let me just recommend that you go to powertosing.com, and let me see. I don't know if I can pull this up or not. If you go to powertosing.com, let me just see. Let me answer this question really quick, you guys. So in powertosing.com, I'm afraid that this is a little bit out of focus. Up in the menu here, over in the far right, you can't even see it on this image. There is a search glass, okay? So if you search here, so if you search in here, search vocal exercises. I'm not going to try and do it. Search vocal exercises when you're sick. Okay? Vocal exercises when you're sick. And I think that will there's a series of, you can watch the video on it, vocal exercising when you're sick, or for the sick voice. And these exercises are closed vowels, so that we're not putting a lot of strain and stress on the voice. You can get it warmed up without hurting it. Okay, so powertosing.com, and then on the far right, search for vocal exercises for the sick voice. And yes, you can improve. Yeah. but you do have to practice correctly. Okay, the Breck say, if you put your hands under your ribs, breathe in and out for some reason, it helps you develop vibrato. Interesting. I've never heard of that. Never tried it. Thanks for the tip. I also know a lot of singers who gave me tips and watched a lot of YouTube videos by vocal coaches. Great. Thanks, you guys. Let me see here. I'm a little behind on comments, guys. Let me try and catch up here. Potato, tomato. Yeah, I mean, you guys, I've got a video here, how to do vibrato. Again, you can search that. It's one of the past episodes I've done here. Can't remember which episode, but how to do vibrato, power to sing. I'll give you 5 ways to develop it. And that's where this comment came from today, that I talked about how, well, no, that was on my latest video. This is an older one from a couple years ago. It's got a lot of people who have watched it. It's the second most watched video that I have, and over the last 3 years. Potato Tomato says, Love, don't sing while you're sick. Potato Tomato is correct. If you're really sick, wait till you're better. I mean, really sick what I mean by that is if you just, if you kind of got some swollen glands and maybe just maybe the top of your throat just a little bit sore, that's one thing. But if you've got a severe sore throat, the vocal cords are inflamed, you've got maybe an infection going on, don't do it. Thanks for that clarification, Potato Tomato. Vicky Williams says balance is good. Does vibrato apply to barbershop singing style? Vicky, yeah, I think it could. But you probably wouldn't do it together, all 4 of you. It might be a solo line or something. But if you had 4 of you doing vibrato and the cycle was a little bit off so that you weren't all doing the vibrato in the same cycle, it probably would not be good. And especially if you were in a contest or something, or a large choir doing barbershop, probably not. But if there was a tenor in the quartet, or maybe a second or a first soprano, one of the quartets, female quartets, that had a solo line, why not? Why not have vibrato? David Hari says, you mentioned earlier that vibrato was another tool to add to your toolbox of singing. Can you name any other tools to learn? Yeah, David, I think number 1 for me is the ability to bridge. That is to go from chest through the bridge into your head voice. Now, I couldn't do that until I was 43, and I didn't know how to do it. I thought I could only sing to the E. And I had to stop. I couldn't go any further than that. So it's a specific skill. I think it's the number 1 important skill in all of singing. That is learning how to negotiate, to face that bridge, that transition from chest, low voice, into head, the high voice, going through that middle area. For the guys, it's E, F, F sharp. For the girls, it's A, B flat, B, and C, C sharp. That is above middle C. And so the first thing I would do is figure out how you do that. If I were to pull my chest and say, then that describes my vocal type. I would tend to pull chest and raise the larynx. So my vocal type would be pull chest, high larynx. And on my website, I've got a test for you to take. So you can determine what do you tend to do when you sing through the bridge, because that is going to determine so much about your voice and what songs you sing and how you sing them and so forth. So in the description below this video is a PDF. You can download the PDF and go, and it will take you to the vocal test. It will take you to videos about each of the vocal types. There's 4 vocal types. You'll discover your vocal type. You can get watch videos about your vocal type. You can get exercises for your vocal type and download the exercises for free. And that's in my opinion, tool number one. Hey, Arthur, nice to have you here today. Merry Christmas to you, too. Vicky says, well, it's okay. You're welcome, Vicky. So for those of you guys who missed, gosh, what am I doing here? Am I on screen? Who missed Santa Claus today? Be sure and catch the first minute or two of our broadcast today. He sang for us today. Truly, he sang. So be sure and check him out. Okay. Tuchuk says, highest and Merry Christmas. Awesome. Merry Christmas to you too. So nice of everybody to come and join us today. I didn't think we'd be very busy because it's a holiday, you know. Freddie Mercury had the best vibrato. I mean, I think he was pretty awesome. And yeah, he's one that got up there and was just doing some wild, crazy things and with vibrato. Too much vibrato sounds weird though. So yeah, there's some vibratos that go too fast. Well, yeah, you can use vibrato too much. Like if I was singing ABC, I wouldn't say A, B, C, D, E, F, G. No, I would just do it on the sustain. But if I were doing an opera or something that, or some other classical or religious text repertoire, it may be appropriate to add more vibrato. But in a pop song, it may be appropriate to just do vibrato on the sustained notes. And so some of the genres kind of indicate, but if you overdo the vibrato in like pop or rock or something like that, yes, it sounds weird. I agree. Or if the quality of the vibrato, if the vibrato moves too fast, that's called a tremolo. I don't do a very good demonstration of that, but it's just too fast. It's spinning too fast. Too many cycles in a second. You want 6 to 8 cycles per second, which is about what I've been demonstrating. Or if it goes too slow and if the vibrato is spinning along the pitch over the top of the pitch, and it slows so much that it starts to dip down into the pitch. A, B, C, D. So it's spinning down into the pitch, and so it turns into a wobble. And starts to go flat. And we've heard the older voices that have maybe been singing in falsetto all their lives, and so they lose muscle tone, or have been straining too hard. So those are the kinds of things that good technique, hopefully, and appropriate care of the voice will avoid, so you don't have to deal with that as you age. So the Brex, let me see. Mariah Carey is let me see. I skipped somebody. Wow. I tried to advance this and it just jumped way down. Okay. The Brex, in your opinion. Does straining make it harder to have vibrato? Yes, it does. Because when you strain, you clamp the cords tight. You hold the cords tight. And when there's too much tension, then the cords are restricted in their ability to produce the vibrato. Theodore says, "Does straining?" Okay, Marvin. Hi, Marvin. Merry Christmas to you. Isn't vibrato really varying the pure tone? Yeah. Like a violinist or any other string accomplishes by slightly moving their finger on the fretboard. Correct. Yeah. So embodied in that vibrato is that alternating pitches. Great comment. Good question. The Rex says Freddie Mercury opera vibrato was over 7 megahertz. He's one of my favorite singers. I've I don't know. Has everybody gone to see the show on Freddie Mercury? I haven't caught it. There's been, some people said it's not that good, and others have really liked it. Two chooks. My vocals are still mixed, but they are getting better. Awesome. It's a process, isn't it? We're on a journey, all of us. Potato Tomato, are you asking me? My favorite singer is Mariah Carey. Two chooks. The Beatles. Hard to beat any of those. Mariah Carey is my second favorite. Akshay says, oh my gosh, I just realized tone of ABC is Twinkle Twinkle Little Star. Yep. And Baba Black Sheep. Yep, it is. Isn't that something? What is barbershop singing style? Akshay, here's what I want you to do. Go on YouTube and search on YouTube for and write and type in there Music Man Ice Cream. The Music Man is a musical theater show and a movie. And if you'll search the term ice cream and watch that, it's about a 4 minute video, or maybe less. There's a barbershop example of a barbershop quartet. It's awesome. It's great. It's one of my favorite lines in all of teaching, because Professor Harold Hill, he's a huckster. He's trying to defraud the city. He's trying to avoid being questioned by the school board, and so he diverts them by getting them to sing together. And he says, "What do I hear? Sir, sing, say ice cream or something like that." And he says, "Well, I don't sing if that's what you mean. No, just say it. Just speak ice cream. It's now say it longer. Ice cream." And he says, "You see, gentlemen, singing is just sustained talking." And so that's a very simple way of thinking about singing. It's just like we talk, only we hold it out a little bit. Music Man Ice Cream, and you'll find a video with the example of barbershop. It's an awesome art form. Evlove, how do you gain resonance in your voice? Well, it's kind of like asking, how does your car run? Love, there's a lot to the question. So I think basically you have resonance when you speak. How do you get resonance in your voice when you speak? For sure, there has to be the presence of air, and the air has to be resonating and vibrating, and the edges and the lining of the throat and the mouth and so forth. The soft tissues have to they get involved. So there's a little bit of sympathetic vibration from them, and they create some overtones, and so you get this interaction of air and the vibration in the air affecting the soft tissue around it and the bone, and this vibration and resonance is rolling and turning around in your throat, in your mouth, and sometimes up above the roof of the mouth, depending on the vowels and so forth. And then it comes outside your mouth. We do that when we talk, and when we sing, we add a melody, and we might hold out our speech longer. A, B, C, D. Whereas when we speak, we just say A, B, C, D, E, F, G. When we sing, we do the same thing, except we hold those out a little bit on pitches. But we do the same thing when we talk, except we don't have to hold the notes out. We don't change the pitches too much, a little bit, like that or like that. Okay. My second favorite is Whitney Houston, he says, but a potato tomato, or she says. Sorry, you guys, I don't know potato tomatoes, whether you're a gender neutral potato tomato, or whether there is evidence of male or female. Ev Love says, strengthen the voice. Okay, how do you strengthen your voice to be able to project louder? Another short question, but somewhat long answer. I'll give you one thing to do is you work on breathing, so that when you're breathing from the or allowing the diaphragm to drop. So this is my tummy. If I relax my tummy comes out. Air goes in. It creates a vacuum in my lungs. So air goes in, and then when I sing, so air in, A, B, C, D, E, F, G, pulling it in, H, I, J, K, L, M, N, O, P. If I pull that in when I'm speaking, if I use that same breathing mechanism and then I add a little bit of just gently pull my tummy in a little bit, it seems to firm up the airflow through the vocal cords, and I'm able to project. Speaking and singing. Hey, TJ, Merry Christmas to you. Okay, we got to get through some of these here so we can let you guys go and enjoy your families and do whatever. Marvin says, my favorite is a woman who sang at church this past Sunday. Awesome. She's never sung before. She was magnificent. Her voice was so gentle. I don't think you can make or fake vibrato. She did neither. I don't think you can make or fake vibrato. Okay, so Marvin, if she doesn't know how to do vibrato, then I would never recommend you fake it while you're trying it. I'm saying you induce it, or fake it, or manufacture it in practice. Because if you want to develop vibrato, and I think you should, then do it in practice, and then practice it in singing. And then when you're comfortable with it, and it's natural then, because here's what happens. We could say that running is not natural. And so to learn to run, what do you have to do? You have to induce your legs to move faster. You have to provoke the legs to go quickly. And at first it's awkward, and if depending on your age, you fall or you skin your chin or you hurt your knees or whatever. Eventually, you're able to run, fast and run without falling. And in some cases, some runners become so good at it that they race and win races and become tremendous athletes. So, and why? Well, our legs and all the muscles involved in our body has a memory system. We start to get muscle memory. And so, we can train it. Same thing is true with the vocal cords. Maybe it's never felt it before. I hadn't. All of a sudden now, the neurons, the things that are intelligent there, are feeling that vibration. And with enough of that experience, they can start to memorize that and take over. And then I don't have to make it happen. It just happens. But to get it started, I have to induce it. I had to. I couldn't have learned vibrato without that. All right. So Potato says, what if you're pull chest some days and flip voice other days? You're pulling your chest voice too high, and the larynx is coming up, and it causes it to flip. So it's generally speaking, in most cases, tomato. The flip is a result of a pulled chest, high larynx, in many cases. Or maybe sometimes the vocal cords are just swollen and it's early in the morning and you get a little crack. That's kind of different. But generally speaking, the flip oftentimes occurs because you're because the larynx is coming up. Rex, I really don't listen to Whitney Houston, but I do believe she's one of the greatest singers of all times. All great, thanks. Rick, hi Rick. So I'm over 65 years old and started singing. Can you talk about an older, aging voice? Rick, I'm 65, and I will be 66 in February. So just a couple months away, month and a half now, almost, be February the 14th. It's my birthday. I'll be 66, and I'm trying to take care of my vocal cords from the standpoint of quality, good quality technique, where I'm not straining, I'm not pulling the chest voice up, and I'm not elevating the larynx when I sing. That comes back to that bridging. We got to get that bridging down. So that's job number one. I think vibrato is a great way to keep the voice healthy, and then you got to watch the acid reflux at this age, at least. I think acid reflux can cause some problems, and so I take some medication, and that's kind of what I'm doing. I'm trying not to eat heavy right before I go to sleep and all those kinds of things. And so really, I think that good quality technique where you're not reaching, straining, and pulling up the voice, abusing the voice, is going to enable you to sing until you don't want to sing anymore. Vicky says it's called Singlish in barbershop. Okay. Timmy Joe, TJ, can you tell us what pressed phonation is, and is it a bad or good thing, or neither? TJ, I'm not sure what is meant by pressed phonation. Sorry. I can tell you what I mean when I say press down into it or lean into it, but I'm not sure that it's the same thing. Vicky Williams, relaxed and flat jello tongue. Vicky says, so much to learn. It's fascinating. It is. That's what makes singing so exciting, and teaching singing so exciting. Okay. Isn't the intended use of vibrato when, how, and for how? Isn't the intended use of vibrato when, how, and for how long what makes one singer different than another? I think that's a good point, Marvin. And don't we all seem to instinctively gravitate towards the same sweet spot? You don't. That's a great question, Marvin. You don't sound like a newbie. Yeah, it's an art. It's an art form. It's an art form, and it's an artistic choice. And so you want to have that flexibility to be able to add vibrato. So I think you're exactly right. When, how, and how long, and those are choices that every artist makes. And yeah, we hear it, and we kind of, our natural ear starts to pick up, well, that sounds good, I'm going to do that. And so we do kind of tend to gravitate toward it. But if you can't do vibrato, then you can't make that choice. And that's why I'm trying to help. Because I lived unhappily about my voice, because I was told that I didn't have it because I wasn't born with it. Akshay says, I was learning to breathe and pulled my tummy too much, and now I have stretch marks on my stomach like a prego wimp. Akshay, I've never heard that in my life. That's amazing. Vicky says, laugh. Yeah, it is. That's rather funny. Thank you, sir. It made Christmas beautiful for me. Okay. Well, Marvin, thank you. And I'm not sure that's for me or for someone else here, but this has been a great conversation today. So you guys have all made my Christmas beautiful for me. Theodore says, hi, Theodore, by the way. Nice to have you here. Merry Christmas to you. What is the best way to sustain a long note without moving up and down on pitch? So what's the best way of sustaining a note and not changing the pitch? Practice, I guess. I'd take that low breath. So tummy comes out, air goes in the lungs, and then I really fill it up. You want to stand up straight, shoulders back, hips kind of pulled under, so in your feet about shoulder length apart, and standing comfortably. Let that tummy drop, get full of air. I think it's helpful to do vibrato to sustain that pitch. So that's one breath. That wasn't too bad. So that kind of practice will help. But I think singing a lot helps to do that too. Alex asks, how can I sing higher? Alex, the first thing you have to do is you have to learn how to bridge. You have to learn how to get from the low voice to the high voice. And that's kind of what you're asking. But there's E, F, F sharp. Now, I don't know how old you are, but if your voice has changed, the E, F, F sharp is really a hard area to get through. You've got to learn how to do that. So get your vocal type, and I'll mention this again, in the description below in this YouTube video is a PDF that says get your vocal type. You'll get your vocal type, and it's a test. It will describe for you what you tend to do as you sing through the bridge. If you tend to pull the chest voice too high and the larynx comes up, then you know your vocal type is pulled chest, high larynx. And that PDF takes you right to the vocal test, takes you to videos that talks about the vocal types. There's pulled chest, high larynx, flip falsetto, light chest, no chest, and mix. Then once you know what your vocal type is, there are exercises specifically for your vocal type that will help you do what you just asked me, and that is get through the bridge so you can sing the high notes. Get your vocal type in the PDF below. Pascal Smith says, I'm trying to develop my vibrato, but not getting it. Pascal, be patient. You'll get it. You will get it. In some cases, it takes a little while. And you may be someone that may find real value in this course that I'm putting together that should be available in the next month. Actually, it says, I'm telling the truth. Oh, wait a minute. Let me see now. Actually, Potato says, oh my gosh, Akshay, I'm glad that I'm not alone. Telling the truth. Merry Christmas, sir. Thank you, Theodore. Hey, George, nice to have you here. Merry Christmas to you. Jorge, Den's channel, Merry Christmas, Chuck. Thanks for all your advices and lessons. Thank you. Merry Christmas to you. And again, you guys, if you missed Santa Claus, go back to the beginning of the video when it's posted here. It should be in the next minute or so after we stop. He sings the song for us and does a little dance. Okay, so a happy Hanukkah or happy Kwanzaa or Merry Christmas. Asante, Yesu Team TV. Merry Christmas, sir. Thank you. Merry Christmas to you. And Tomato says, to me, F sharp 4, a G4 place is the hardest. Never been properly, I reckon I've never properly belted a G sharp 4 before. So yeah, learning how to bridge will enable you to do that without belting it, which is what you really want to do. You don't want to have to belt every time you do that. Thanks, Alex. I think you're going to find it to be very helpful to get your vocal type. TJ, thanks. Thanks, everybody. Okay, Alex, you're 17. It's hard for Alex. The good news is you can do it. The bad news is you're at the toughest time of your life as a guy to learn how to do what I'm talking about. That's bridging. It's just hard for us because we've gone through this vocal change, and you've got to learn to relax as you sing higher rather than tense up. You got to learn to release and relax as you sing higher. But getting your vocal type and doing these exercises will help you do that. It may not be easy. It might take a little while, but you can get it. I wish I'd known about this, what I'm telling you today. I wish I'd known when I was 17. All right, everybody. Love you all. Merry Christmas. Happy New Year. I think we'll probably do this again next week. And is it next Tuesday is New Year's Day? So I'll see you next year. I'm Chuck Gilmore with Power to Sing live today, number 112. We covered vibrato and a lot of other great stuff. I hope you found that helpful. Remember, you can sing higher with beauty, confidence, and power, and vibrato. And I'll see you inside the next video. Take care.